Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Morik.
And I'm Lover's Lens, and today's episode is extra thrilling. We're joined by the amazing Pri Karin, the developer behind Keyword Trade. It's an upcoming mystery thriller visual novel straight out of a crime scene. Pri Karin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Happy that you're with us as well. Can you please start by introducing yourself and telling us a bit about your story as a developer?
Of course. As you know, my name is Pri Karin, but everyone just calls me Pri. I'm a developer from Argentina, and I started making games around 2018, more or less. The first games I made were, I made them all by myself, except for the music. I drew everything by myself, and it was certainly an experience, but then I started to think, making games solely by myself is not really my thing. So I started joining teams and game jams, and later on I sort of made my own thing, but still commission artists and other people to help me. So basically that's my journey.
So you started as a solo dev, and now you have a team behind your back, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that I'm still a solo dev, because even though I'm the consistent member, the only consistent member of my Pri Karin games, I still hire artists. It's just that it's not always the same people that I hire. But yeah, basically that's it.
That's actually surprisingly common from what we've encountered so far. Many other developers start as solo devs and then just have to need help from other people and kind of form these makeshift teams for individual projects.
I remember I once saw a video from a guy, I forgot his name, but he basically said that even if you were a solo dev, you never really made a game alone, because you have people who test it and give you feedback. So game development it's something that you never really do solely by yourself.
Even if you count your community as part of the team, as you said, for testing and feedback, definitely not a solo job.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change the topic a little bit, and I'm going to ask you a personal question. I am dying to know, since I love watching crime shows, like true crime shows. So what's your favorite crime thriller or drama?
Let's see. Well, to be honest, I actually never watched true crime. I heard about it a lot, but never got the opportunity to watch it. But I'm not opposed to watch it sometime. Mainly my love for crime thriller and especially mysteries comes from fiction. So I really love, for instance, Ace Attorney.
I kind of suspected I'd hear Ace Attorney.
Yeah. There's also this game by the same writer called Ghost Trick, which is about a ghost detective who has to figure out the reason for his own murder.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a really, really good game. I recommend it to everyone. And then there was another game that I really liked that was for the Nintendo DS. That is called Hotel Dusk, which is about a former police detective who starts being a salesman, basically. And he goes to a hotel and a lot of interesting things happen. But basically for games. But then I also like, there's a show that is called Vera that is about a detective from the UK. I think she's middle-aged and she's very funny. She has a bit of a reputation of being sort of cold, and but she also has very vulnerable moments. And I really enjoyed that show because it's not often that we see a woman detective and one that is so competent, and where there's not really much romance in the series either. So that's another one that I really like. And then for anime, I really like Detective Conan.
I just want to say this. I saw the poster in the main character's room
Yes. Yeah, I had to put him because he's so iconic.
Great reference.
And yeah, and then I haven't finished watching yet, but I'm really enjoying Monster, the anime and manga from a doctor that basically saves the life of the wrong person because the person he saved is a really awful criminal and he regrets saving him. And well, it's everything that happens after that basically, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, I've watched it actually. It's great and very psychological thriller-esque anime. But I
Yeah,
haven't finished it yet as well.
So we can
yeah,
safely say that you have a lot of inspirations.
yeah.
Uh,
A bit of
also,
everything.
yeah, yeah. Which explains why the writing was so good in your demo.
Oh, thank you.
So I wanted to drop a little recommendation here. If you haven't watched the Sherlock TV series with Benedict Cumberbatch, did I say it
Yes, I think
properly?
it's
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
right,
I
that's the
watched
name.
it. It's really good.
except
Yeah,
the last episode.
Yes, that's true.
I love the last episode. Come on, but I watched it when I was 15, so I don't really remember it at this point. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about your demo. Like as I mentioned, it's very, very good. So it covers chapter 0 and chapter 1, and it's about 15,000 words with plans for 11 in-game days in the full release. So what's your overall plan for the final release?
Let's see. Well, since it will have 11 in-game days, I was thinking about a script more or less around 100k words, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, depending on how things go. And I also was planning to add more CGs. Currently, there are only 2, but I wanted to add around 15 or 20. Also depends on how things go. But yeah, that's more or less the plan. And unlike my another game that was more or less well received, where Winter Crows Go, that one has 3 endings, but Killer Trait will have 6 endings.
Oh, nice. So quite the variety, actually.
Yes.
I also wanted to ask, before we get more into the game, can you give us a spoiler-free overview of it, of Killer Trait for the listeners who haven't played it yet?
Yeah, of course. Well, essentially, Killer Trait is a crime thriller mystery visual novel about a woman in her 30s, a police woman in her 30s, who is betrayed by someone she trusts, and she wants to get revenge on that person with the help of a serial killer who only targets criminals. And ironically, that same serial killer, that same serial killer is the one that she was targeting before. So her enemy becomes her ally.
And her ally, her enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the turntables.
Yes.
So it was a twist for me. Like I didn't expect it to
Same.
happen like that. So we mentioned the main character, the police woman. So I want to ask some questions about her. So we can either play as Fauna, which is the canon protagonist, or we can choose our own character with our own name. But in my case, I chose the canon protagonist. So she is a young aspiring detective with a promising future in Silvering City's police department, as you said. Can you tell us a little bit about her backstory and exactly what inspired her character?
Well, I don't know if there was anything specific that inspired me to write Fauna. I basically wanted a contrast about the situation and something different to my protagonist from Where Winter Crows Go, who is very introverted and sort of anxious. Fauna is nothing like that. She's really extroverted, cheerful, and she loves her job and has wanted to be a detective basically since she was a kid. She also loves apples, as you probably can tell from all the apple stuff that she has at her home.
And her desk.
Yes. And she's also a really big fan of mystery fiction, and kind of otaku culture as well, because she likes video games, anime, and manga, but especially detective stuff. And well, basically, I wanted to make a character, first of all, that is a woman, because I don't see many women characters in crime settings unless they are the victim. There's not many police detective women in fiction that I've seen, or maybe there are, but not as much as men. And I also wanted to give her this sort of innocent look, and she looked something that she looks like younger than she looks. Her eyes are sort of round, resembling a deer, because her name means young deer. That's why Oz calls her Bambi too.
Oh,
Because her
yeah.
name means young deer, and also because she's very petite compared to the average height. But yeah, basically.
I did notice that. The moment I thought, was it intentional that her name means young deer? And then when I was just called her Bambi, yep, it's intentional, and everyone is associated with them. Everyone has
Very
an
intentional.
animal association, I think.
Yeah, everyone. I love making those kind of things. I know that many writers always joke about how they make the backstory of their characters, and then they struggle to put a name to the characters. But I'm not like that. I always love naming my characters and seeing what kind of association I can put them with their name. So yeah, the names are all very intentional.
I'm one of those writers that struggles with names, by the way. It's so much easier to just think of the character's life. Oh yeah, he went to school here, worked as this when in his 20s, and what's the name though?
So maybe take
Yeah.
notes, Morek. I mean, you can start like doing fun
Start with
jokes
the names.
with the names. Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked that little detail here. And I also wanted to say that I loved, like, it made me laugh a lot when we entered Oz's bedroom and I saw the poster of Blue Day with an apple.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, come on. So I laughed a little bit there. So it's
and
the
it's
little details, little pens that you put there. It's very nice.
Thank you.
That poster in particular, very, very clever to have it be a mosaic-like, because it's like the grenade. And
Yes.
Yeah. As I said, the little details.
Yes. Speaking of Oz, let's talk about him. He's the main love interest, an enigmatic
And the
killer
only, not
Yes.
only the main, the only love interest in the game.
I said it. An enigmatic killer who only targets criminals and, as we said, becomes your ally from your enemy. So, can you tell us more about him?
Sure. Oz is sort of like a firecracker because he has a really short temper and is a bit chaotic. He is also a bit impulsive, and he's also very athletic and has a really strong sense of justice. So that's why he essentially became a killer that only targets criminals. He had something very traumatic that happened in his past that it will be revealed in the game later.
Now I'm curious. Does it have something to do with his birthmark?
Yes,
okay.
it does.
Okay.
Yeah, he got that birthmark from that incident, and that birthmark it doesn't have to do with his killing. That was something that came before.
Mm-hmm. That's quite.
And well, and I don't know what else I can say about him other than, well, he's also a very big gamer like Fauna. And I'd say a bit of an edgelord because he likes rock bands. And he likes to dress with blue and black and colors that are a bit dark. But ironically, his favorite colors are blue and red. So I don't know. He's kind of extra like
color.
that. Yeah. So, I almost forgot. And he also really likes making sweets. He wants to be a confectioner, which is why he's so passionate about making recipes and basically helping Arthur out, because Arthur can't really make sweets. He is capable at a lot of things, but he can't bake for his life.
That's actually surprising. So Arthur is the coffee guy in that case.
Yeah. Arthur basically handles regular cooking and coffee, drinks, and other drinks. And he can make bread, but when it comes to making sweets, he's terrible at it. So that's what Oz is in charge of, apart from deliveries.
So we can safely say that Oz bakeries are to kill for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned Arthur, and I have some questions about him. He's not a love interest in the game, but he's still like a central part of our criminal group. He's the mama bear and the charismatic cafe owner that greets us in the morning. And he has a weird obsession with, bears. As I said, he's the mama bear.
Yeah.
So what inspired his character, and what is his main goal, and where that bear team comes from?
Well, to be honest, I'm a really, really huge fan of cafes myself. And I have a friend who's also part of my team in Killer Trade. She was the one, Florisam. She made the art for all the food and drinks, like the bourbon and the latte, the cookies. All of that was made by her. And we really love talking about coffees and how sometimes there are many themed cafes. And unfortunately, where we live in Argentina, there aren't that many themed cafes. So I wanted to add something like that to the game, because I'm a really big fan of cafes. And I said, well, the characters will need some place to hide from the police. So what better than a coffee shop where they can work there as well? And essentially, the bear obsession came from that as well. Since his name is Arthur, which basically means bear, I thought, okay, that would be funny, so let's add that. And I also wanted a character who was a bit more chill to sort of contrast Oz's fiery personality. So, yeah, Arthur is more, like I said, a mama bear, and he's more relaxed, and he basically just goes on tangents about talking about his hyperfixations when he's excited. But overall, he's a very chill guy and very extroverted, unlike Oz, who's more of an introverted guy. But he's extroverted in a chill way, if that makes sense. He's not like super energetic or anything, but he likes to talk to people and know about them and offer them drinks and recommendations. So,
make them buy pajamas.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
Okay, so about their dynamics with Fauna, I'd like to ask about both Oz and Arthur's dynamic with her, since they're the center of the story and basically her co-conspirators. What can you tell us about that?
So Fauna and Oz, I think the best example I can think of their dynamic is from Inuyasha. They're basically like Inuyasha and Kagome from the anime. They have a sort of bickering dynamic at first, but they can also be very sweet to each other. So it's kind of like, sometimes they fight, they bicker, and other times they're more sweet and understanding of each other. And particularly to Fauna and Oz, since they are both big gamers, that is also something that makes them bond. So yeah, that's basically the dynamic that I was going for with those two. And in the case of Arthur and Fauna, I say their relationship is more chill and friendly. And Arthur is kind of like a caretaker, not only for Fauna but also for Oz. He he's like a big brother to both of them, and sort of like a guide, and he makes sure that they're okay. But ironically, he doesn't really care if there are bad people who are murdered, because he also wants to support us in his goal. So he doesn't really care about that. But with the people he cares about, he's very sweet and supportive and very. I don't know if I would say he's exactly like a mentor, but he does provide some guidance from them and advice, and is overall a very sweet and chill character to both of them.
So as you said, kind of like a caretaker.
Yeah, exactly.
So while I played the demo, I felt this family dynamic between them, and I wondered what happens so Arthur and Oz can meet and live together. And so, like, it's obvious that Arthur is not his father or something, but they still have that kind of a dynamic. But I guess it's a secret or a spoiler if I ask.
It's a bit of a spoiler, but I can say that they are like siblings. Arthur is basically like an older brother to Oz, and Oz is like a younger brother to Arthur. And yeah, they've been living together for quite some time. It's also related to Oz's past and his reason for his burn scar. So yeah, they're very, very close, and that's why Arthur worries so much about Oz and wants the best for him, because yeah, essentially he's like family. He's like his brother. So they are very close and care for each other a lot.
So we will see in the final release what actually happened to these two.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So what about the other major players? Aslan, whose name I'm pretty sure is an Arya reference, and Carl. So they both aren't love interests and keyword trait, but they drive the plot in different ways. So can you introduce each of them and their roles in the story?
Yeah, sure. So Aslan is Fauna's boss. He's the criminal investigation department's boss. He has been in the police for quite some time, and he's essentially I kind of have to spoil it a bit here, but he's essentially the antagonist of the game. So his reasons are not revealed yet, but I don't want it to make it seem like he's a cartoony villain who's like, oh, I'm evil, haha. No, he's more deep than that. He has many reasons to be like that, but essentially he chooses the wrong ways to approach that. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's exactly a villain, because no one in this game is exactly a hero. They're all characters with several shades of gray. No one is exactly a good guy, let's say. I mean, Oz is a killer, even if he's an ally to Fauna. Aslan is a bit of a manipulator, but even so, I think he's more of an antagonist rather than a villain itself. Carl is very curious, because when I first started writing the game, he wasn't even going to be a character. He was just going to be some random old guy who made a comment to Fauna when she was almost late. But then I like his character so much that I said, okay, no, I want him to be more important than that. Essentially made a whole design for him and added him to the game. And he's a bit more of a mystery, because it's not really clear if he wants to help Fauna or if he wants to be against her. He also has a reputation for blackmailing people, so he's a bit of an odd case. And yeah, it's not really clear what he wants to do, but he loves teasing people, and yeah, there is a lot of mystery surrounding him that not even Fauna is clear on what his deal is, basically.
He's kind of a wild card.
Yeah.
Speaking of Karo, we heard that he will actually be a love interest in a future title with a new main character. Any hints to drop about that?
Yeah, it will be a game in the same universe as Killer Trait. And Carl will essentially be sort of an assistant to the new MC and work in investigations. But I can't really tell what kind of investigations yet, but he will have, his own game. And what I can say is that I will make a really, really short game about him for the 0282 jam that's coming very soon in July. And some secrets about him are going to be revealed there that may explain a bit what he still is, but not all of his secrets, of course. But yeah.
That's quite interesting, especially considering he, as you said, he didn't really start off as a character, but just as someone to give some information, and now he's getting a whole game for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, and the voice actor for Carl, Edwin, at first, the voice I wanted for him wasn't very clear. I expected something more softer for him. But then Edwin bought me with his voice, and I said, no, this is the voice for Carl. I love it. Let's add it to the game. And that's how his character was born, essentially.
It's very interesting how characters just start living in your head at some point. Like, even if you had them planned to be just a random officer number 2, for example, and then suddenly there's Carl, and he has a voice and he has a personality. Oh, come on.
Yes.
And now it's a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the demo, you already showcased some gorgeous sprite art. Like, the art is amazing. I loved it. So we have like 2 full CGs, as we mentioned, partial voice acting, dynamic UI, and you announced a complete sprite redesign for the full game as well. So can you walk us through the art process and why you decided to redesign the sprites? I love them. Why do they need a redesign?
Thank you. Yeah, sure. So, well, when I made the first demo for Killer Trade, I didn't really have a lot of budget at that time. So I essentially had to do what I could. And so I bought stock price and stock backgrounds made by different artists, which are readily available for anyone to buy. So they weren't exactly, they weren't iconic to the game itself, because anyone can buy them and use them for their own games. But at the time, since I didn't have much of a budget, that was all I could do. But after the success of Where Winter Crows Go and many, many kind donations from fans, which I greatly, hugely appreciate, I was able to redesign the characters, basically. I was able to hire a new character artist to redesign the designs for Oz, Aslan, and Arthur. Fauna and Carl were made from scratch because they didn't have a design at first. And well, then I was also able to hire background artists. And essentially the process is that I send them some references of what I'm looking for. In the case of character designs, I have sort of a collage of lots of references and some notes, something like, okay, so this character is this body type and has this height and uses this type of clothing and has this hairstyle. And with all of that information, the artist makes a first sketch, and then we basically discuss, okay, this works, this doesn't work, until the art is finished, basically. And with the backgrounds, it's more or less the same. I also send them references to what I'm looking for in the for the background and for the role that they will have in the story. And once they give me the first sketch, we start discussing what things work, what things don't work. And sometimes I also tell them, okay, let's add a reference here, like the poster for Detective Conan or Ace Attorney. And yeah, essentially that's more or less the process for art.
It sounds like you're very how to say it, into giving references, but in a good way. I mean, like, I believe that most of the artists need good references so they can make the product. They have to, as the assigned product, they have to draw. So you mentioned that you draw yourself, and I believe that this helps you a lot when building the mood boards and building the reference sheets and stuff like that. Sometimes when you talk to an artist, you're like, I want this, and you send one reference, and they're like, okay, and they do something that's not like what exactly you imagined. So having good mood boards and having good information about what you actually want from the artist is very, very important.
Yeah, I don't draw myself much anymore, but when I need something very specific, maybe I edit the picture myself to a way that will work. And yeah, and if there's a reference that doesn't work, then I just look for another until we find something that we feel works for the character or the scene in particular. But yeah, I think having good references is very important for artists. I do not think that using references is cheating, as some artists may think. I think it's...
Why would anyone even think that? Even the
Yeah, I know.
even the great artists of the Renaissance always used references.
Yeah, exactly. So I never understood why some people say it's cheating when it's really not. It's just using life as a reference, basically, like seeing what you see and imagining from that.
So it's a bit of a personal question. You can skip answering it if you feel like it, but why did you stop drawing?
Well, several reasons. I actually started studying animation a couple of years ago, and it was something that I really enjoyed. I didn't exactly enjoy animating per se, but I did enjoy the process of drawing. But then, well, because of certain teachers and such, I just didn't find it in me to draw anymore. There was too much competition, and I didn't really feel good about the things I was making. So I decided to concentrate fully on my writing, basically. I do want to start drawing again at some point, but yeah, I basically made a decision all those years ago that drawing professionally wasn't really for me. So that's why I didn't draw much anymore.
So it's gonna be like a hobby in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
more like
nice.
a hobby.
Still want to do it, even though you decided that you don't want to do it professionally. Like having it as a hobby, it's a nice hobby. It's a nice thing. It's a creative thing where you can pull your imagination. So I do support you in your hobby. Go draw more. It will help.
Thank you. Yes. Sometimes I think I drew a little comic of Fauna and Aslan that was for April's Fool. It was really silly, and I did it in 20 minutes or so. But I remember feeling very good about myself when I finished it, because it was a while ago since I last drew. But yeah, I think it's a really good hobby.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's less stressful that way anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So, to return back on the topic of voice actors again. So fans already adore Ty Coker's chilling take on Oz. Do you let performance influence the script once you hear their delivery?
So I haven't really had the chance of letting them influence the script, because they follow my lines very to the
T.
To the T, yes. So in that case, not really, but they do have their own take on the voices that I want. So I let them do what they want in terms of voice. So for us, I mainly just told Ty what kind of character Oz was, and with that information, they gave their take on Oz, and I loved it. So that's what what ended up staying. And for Carl, I wasn't, as I said before, at first I wanted a different kind of voice, but when I heard the audition for Carl, I was like, no, this is the voice for Carl. He's very teasing and suave in his way of speaking, and I love that for him. And that essentially made me change my mind from what I had in mind before. But when it comes to script, at least not yet, but I'm not opposed to it if they ever want to add something new.
I have to say, Oz does sound exactly how I imagined him to sound, even if he had no voice acting. I think that's how I imagined the voice.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So Ty did a great job. Congrats, Ty.
Yes.
And overall art and voice acting in the game is like chef's kiss. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. So we noticed that whenever you make a decision, like this is a thing that I've been thinking about. So whenever you make a decision, a differently colored flame ignites in the corner of your screen. What's that? Can you tell us a bit more about it? Like I didn't quite understood the idea. Is it like based on the choice system?
Yeah, of course. So the flames are essentially linked to Fauna's feelings, more directly to her link to anger. Basically, when you make a choice where Fauna is more forgiving or sweet, the flame will be green. When she's more chaotic or sort of explosive in what she's saying or doing, the flame will be red. And when she's a bit more icy, cold, and cares more about what will happen to her job, the flame turns blue. So essentially, this choice system isn't really an affection system. It's more like which route the game will take you to. And the affection for us will happen independently of the flame choices themselves. It's basically more of like, okay, which path will you choose? How will you react to these situations? And that's what will give you the different endings too. Essentially, there will be two types of choices in the game. First, the flames choices. And once you mainly are set in a certain route, either the red flame, green flame, or blue flame route, then you will have different types of choices there that will either give you a good ending or a bad ending. That's basically the gist of it.
I understand. So it's basically more like connected to Fauna's character and reaction than to her relationship with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's nice. Like
Okay, so
usually in visual novels we get the affection system as you said, but this is like a different thing.
yeah, it's more about how she reacts to the things surrounding her.
Yeah, I thought that would be more interesting personally. And I mean, I also like otome games or games where there is an affection system, but I thought it would be more interesting to have her be even more important than the love interest itself, because essentially Killer Trait is first a mystery game, a thriller, and secondly a romance. So firstly, the most important thing is one's journey, and after that comes the romance.
Yes, so the system fits perfectly in that case for the story you're trying to tell.
Thank you.
So, then the big question on everyone's mind. When will the full game be launched? We know the funding challenges have shifted the timeline a bit. Could you update us on the current roadmap?
So I'm not exactly 100% sure about the full release date, but I hope it will be sometime in 2026, 2027 at most. Yeah, since I have a full-time job myself and can only work on this during my free time, that is more or less the time that I think will take.
Yeah, understandable. So you're doing this as a side project. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Pri, I wish you the best of luck, and I want you to have like the smoothest process when it comes to writing that game. And at some point, hopefully, this will be your main job, since you love doing that much.
Thank you.
We have our hopes and prayers for you.
Thank you so much.
So I'm moving to the community part of the interview. Like, I have some questions about your community. I want to ask you, what's the fan reaction been so far? I mean, is there any comment that made you laugh or made you think deeper about your characters or changed anything?
Well, the reception so far has been mostly really, really good. People told me that they are really liking the game, which has made me really happy. And as for comments that made me laugh, I'd say that I always laugh when people react so strongly to the betrayal. They are really angry when Fauna is betrayed, and I can't help but laugh because yeah. And I'm also really happy that people seem to be liking Fauna, or, well, the MC, if they play as their own character. And that really motivates me to keep going as I've been doing. But yeah, I think that would be the gist of it.
So, having strong reactions means that you did a good job with the plot twist, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
No one expected that. Honestly, yeah, I had no idea it was coming.
Mm-hmm. And I always try to outsmart the stories, a thing about the outcomes and stuff like that. And this came like a thunderstroke, like, what? What? Why? Come on.
Yeah, I had different reactions. There were people who suspected him from the beginning, and others who were like, "Wait, what? What do you mean he's betraying you?" So it was interesting to seeing the different reactions.
I was definitely in the camp, wait, what? But not... I had my suspicions when we found the chief dead in the room with Oz there. I was like, wait a second. And am I going to get framed for this? I mean, the killer is here. Surely not. Surely not. And then it happens.
Yeah.
So you were surprised, but you were not surprised.
I had some suspicions.
I will say that another thing that inspired me in regards to the false guilty party was Hitchcock's movies. There are many movies from Hitchcock where there is always a person who's framed by a crime that they didn't commit, and I always thought that it was really a fun topic, so I wanted to add that to my game as well.
Interesting. So, still on the topic of fans and community, your community seems to be very warm and candid. What's a piece of feedback or theory that has shaped or nearly shaped something in killer traits development, if any?
Let's see. Well, usually it has been minor things, but still really helpful. Like, there was a time in the old demo where Fauna is looking at the reviews for different cafes, and when she looked at the cup of coffee cafe, there were too many reviews for the cafe to be actually a new cafe. So I updated the number of reviews that the cafe had based on a comment from a fan. And there was also a bit of rewriting on my part during the part that Fauna is essentially accepted into the family of criminals, where she was a bit more, how to say, the way that she and us were talking was a bit too friendly, but in the sense that as if they had been friends for longer. So I decided to tweak a bit on that and just made them talk about, hey, I don't have any clothes for the week. Can you help me with that?
Okay. That's interesting. That because that was kind of a big scene with the clothes and everything. Not big, but quite. It took up some time. Should I
Yeah,
think?
that's a new scene that wasn't in the old demo before. So I thought, yeah, that would make sense.
I wouldn't have
It
guessed.
makes-
So, exclusive content time. You send us quite a bunch of things. Okay. So, this is the first thing we have here. What are we looking at?
This is a concept for Arthur. I wanted him to have long hair and glasses because I don't know, it gave him a chill a chill vibe, and yeah, I thought that the idea that Mustache, the character artist, had for him was really good. He does have some aspects from the stock sprite that I bought before, but I also wanted to make sure that he wasn't exactly the same. Firstly, well, to avoid copyright issues and that, but still having the same vibe around him of a guy who is chill and relaxed and very friendly. And well, I really like guys with long hair, so I wanted to.
Oh, me too. Me too. Me too. This is my thing. Like, that's why I found him very attractive, and I'm kind of sad that he's not a love interest in the game. Even though this very obsession might be a turning off moment, honestly.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
but still, he looks a little bit like a fox, if you ask me, with the white hair and the red eyes, like a polar fox. It's a very nice design. I love it. And he's very
It's funny that you
stylish.
mentioned that because the fox character, the one that has an association with a fox is Carl.
I was gonna say, is it Caro? Because of the way he always keeps his eyes kind of closed, it reminded me of
Mhm.
Fox for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does remind the fox of a fox as well to me. But
Yeah,
there's
and his last name also means fox.
okay again, nice details here. So yeah, very nice character design here. And
this is a
we
close-up.
have him. Yeah, we have him with glasses.
He looks a bit
and
angry
without
here.
glasses. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
he has a bit of a resting angry
Bitch face.
but
Yeah.
yes, but he's really not an angry guy at all, except for those moments in the demo where he gets angry at us.
Well, there's a reason.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
understandably angry.
Yes,
And I
it's
really
more of
like-
an angry mom that is like reprimanding their child, saying, where have you been? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now I have to clean up after your mess, basically. And I really like this kind of a royal. It's not temple. How it's called?
Mole.
Help me, Morek.
The mole, yes.
Yeah. Like it gives a very royal vibe, you know.
Yeah.
So we have our lion here.
Yes. At first, his face looked a bit more childish. So I told Mustache, he looks a bit too young. Let's make him look a bit older. But the overall clothing design for him was okay. We just weren't quite decided on which color to give him for the shirt.
I really like the green one.
I can't decide. looking at
really
the
like
choices.
But I am biased. I like green. But I like purple as well. But green looks good. Like, makes his eyes pop a little bit. And he has a lot of jewelry, as I can see. Oh, sorry.
Zoomed in on the wrong place.
I wanted him to have sort of a regal look, like, hey, I'm the king of everything. I'm the lion. So that's why I gave him a lot of rings and a necklace with a sun.
And some kind of a different piercings that I can see here.
Yeah,
Like, I love-
yeah.
I love
And that's
piercings.
why I also wanted him to have blonde hair so that it basically
It resembles a lion.
A lion's mane, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so there's like
More
more
shirt design.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Like, you've been thinking about that
The
a
red
lot, I
actually
guess.
looks
Yeah.
kind of good.
Yeah, it's aggressive. It's aggressive. And
That's
like the promo,
from the promo image when he's looking.
Yeah,
for-
for the blinds.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the sketch that Master sent me, and yeah, I wanted him to be like flying through the blinds, but also holding onto the blinds a bit, so his face
Yeah.
was a little more thin.
I find it like very, very nice design on the promo itself. Oh, and here we talk about reference.
Yeah, that is basically the way that I make character designs. I make a collage of several different references and what I'm looking for. And with this information, that's how the artist give me a first sketch.
Yeah, it's incredibly detailed, man. Like you have the eyes, you have the hair,
The police uniform.
the police uniform. Very,
Yeah.
very, very nice. And we have the Bleach character here. Like small girl.
Yeah, I wanted her to be really petite, so I started looking for petite characters that could be helpful. And yeah, Rukia is very petite, so
Nice. And
Oh,
next
this
we
is-
have like a no, it's not a concept.
This is after she got arrested.
Yeah.
this is
With the new
yes, this is a
hairstyle.
sketch of the sprite.
Also, it's like a work in progress sketch.
Yeah.
Very nice color of the hair. Like I like this change, honestly.
Fits her. Oh,
Oh, and we have her with lavender. Like I thought that lavender would look nicer on her, but now when I see it next to the pink, I can see why you chose the pink.
yeah, I think the pink fits better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't decided at first on which one to choose, but ultimately I decided for pink. I thought
Yeah,
it had a nicer contrast.
and it opens her face a little bit more.
Yeah.
And next we have another,
this is-
like it's a concept.
Yeah, that's the first sketch that I received from Mustache about Fauna.
Yeah, she didn't change that much.
Yeah, it's pretty close to it.
Mm.
Yep.
And we have Oz here.
Yeah, this is a concept for whenever he's wearing his beanie. I basically wanted him to have different hairstyles because I thought, well, when he's at home, maybe he's more relaxed, so he can have his hair down, and I really like the idea of a beanie, so we included that.
Yeah, and he looks more like a criminal like that with the hat. And we have another hairstyle here.
This
Yeah,
with his
beautiful.
side hair.
Ponytail. This was, I think it was the first sketch that Mustache gave me. I don't know. This was for the sprite. Yes, the first sketch for the sprite.
It reminds me of this the last Airbender character. Oh, Morik, help me, please.
Zuko.
Have you? Yes.
Oh
He
yeah.
reminds me of Zuko a little bit here.
How could you
Yeah,
forget
because of
Zuko?
the scarf.
Because of the scar, because of the overall vibe, the hairstyle as well, like having a ponytail. And we have a work in progress
This looks like a
sketch
CG.
here, like a CG.
Yeah, that's the sketch for the first CG.
Your artist is great. I mean, like stuff started great in the beginning. They didn't change that much. Like they had colors and details, but in the beginning,
Yeah, they look. The final versions look quite close to the original sketches.
There was a previous sketch before this one that was more of a composition sketch. But yeah, this was the second sketch that she gave me, and it's already very detailed.
Great work, great work. So that's about it. Thank you very much for providing all of these materials. I always like to look at character concepts and work in progress stuff because it helps me imagine what the process was by creating it. So,
Yeah, of course, no problem.
And before we wrap up, do you have any final words for our listeners and your fans?
I'd say thank you for supporting me, and I really appreciate when people leave me comments, and it means a lot to me because, well, writing is not really my main job, but whenever someone tells me that they like what I do, it really makes my day, basically. So I really want to thank my fans and everyone who supports me in my journey to make games. And my dad will probably be listening to this too, so I wanted to tell him thank you as well for all the support that he's given me, and my friends, of course, for always having my back and being the best.
You are super cute.
Thank you.
Pri, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's been a blast delving into murder, mystery, and moral dilemmas.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
And to our listeners, wishlist keyword trade on itch.io. Try the free demo, it's worth it. And consider supporting the Ko-fi Go so we can solve this case sooner rather than later.
And remember, trust no one except your narrative instincts. See you in the next episode.